damn it, Thelma.
No. God damn it.
Delmet.
God damn it. Me for fucking up that line. Brad Pitt's abs.
Yep.
There you go. You got it.
Fucking holding the fucking hairdryer up like a gun.
God, just heating up them abs.
God damn. What a beefcake.
My God.
What
a lean piece of meat he is. Welcome to the Review, a show where we only talk about Brad Pitt.
Yeah, how much we want to fuck him.
Better than, I guess, an inanimate egg sandwich last week.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
now we'll give you some real eye candy, ladies.
That's right, baby.
Yes.
I'm Short of the Max Extreme.
Hey, I'm JD3K.
Today we are doing a flashback. Flashback.
Flashback, talking about some ladies on the run.
That's
with
right.
Birds of Prey from our last show. Now we're going to talk about some ladies on the run in terms of Thelma and Louise. The quintessential ladies on the run.
That's right.
Movie, some would say.
That is right. When we went back and did this review, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie.
Yeah.
And I remember liking it quite a bit.
Yeah. I did as well. And it shows in our review.
Very good.
That you will hear in mere moments.
Yeah, what was this of even why do we even bring this one up to review?
I think we did this back
originally
in March to do like female-centric movies of the 90s because Captain Marvel was coming out.
That's right. That makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. Which I think we're going to do a version of this for the 80s when Wonder Woman comes out.
Oh, righteous.
I'm thinking.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds
That'll be
good.
fun. Cause I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to see like those like female like 16 candles and shit. I've never actually seen those.
Like all like Breakfast Club and stuff like that too?
I've seen Breakfast Club.
Okay.
But I'm like more like ones where it's like very like female centric.
Okay.
Like 16 Candles or like Pretty in Pink or something like that.
Okay. I've seen both of those.
Yeah.
I'd be fine reviewing them.
Yeah.
Because
one or the other. Well, it doesn't need to be both.
Okay.
But like some like female centric 80s.
Yeah, I got you.
Female.
I got it.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's like a movie where it's like very heavy on like a female main character.
Sure.
But then it's like in the 80s.
Oh, the 80s.
Like imagine a movie where the main character is a woman.
Uh-huh.
But like it was a
okay.
movie that was made between 1980 and 1989.
Okay. So like in that decade of the 80s, like
yeah, like imagine it's 19 and then there's an 8
back, like to the last millennium.
Yeah.
Oh
like
God,
it's one.
You gotta think far back.
Yeah, think of like a decade where it starts 198.
Okay.
And then any number after that could
maybe a 10.
Whatever. Not a 10. No, not a 10.
Okay.
But like between 1 and 9, if there was a number after that, it could be any movie made in that year. But
with
then
ladies in it.
Yeah, but then think like that there's also like a woman who's the main character of the movie that was made in that year.
Oh. See, I didn't really get it until you just explained it to me like that. Thanks for mansplaining it to me.
Well, you're welcome. I know you're still tucked from Birds of Prey, so
that's right. I want to get in there. I want to put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Oh man, we're going to hell. Fuck.
But yeah, so enjoy this flashback review of Thelma and Louise.
Yes,
and we will see you coming up later in the week for
Lock and Key. Very curious on how this is all gonna turn out.
Mm-hmm. You ever read Lock and Key?
I have not, but I know you and Ghost Hunter Dave hold it in high regard.
Yes.
So from what I've seen so far, I am digging it.
Okay, very good.
Could turn.
Would you be interested in reading the first trade? Would you be able to get that done by Thursday?
Jesus.
You can say no.
No.
Okay.
Troy, how long have I had that fucking...
That's true.
Walking Dead.
You have to finish Walking Dead 3. I forgot. Good point. All right, so there you go. So, very good. Enjoy this review, and we'll see you later.
There you go. We'll see you on Thursday for Lock and Key, but right now, Thelma and Louise starting right now, baby.
The 90s are alive in all of us.
They are.
And strong women rule the world.
They are.
Put together.
So put them together, and you got a Thelma and Louise.
Oh, that's right. It's a recipe for a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Or is it?
We'll see.
We will, won't we? Dropping May 24th, 1991, with a budget of $16.5 million.
Summer release.
It domestically made $45.3 million, was not released worldwide.
Oh, wow. Well, it seems like it made its money back.
It did. It more than doubled its money, so it made a little bit.
There you go.
A little bit there. Probably made its budget completely back. And then maybe 15 mil. Who knows? Who knows how money works?
I'm surprised it didn't release this worldwide. It doesn't seem like it needs to be like a regional type of film.
I don't know. Maybe it just had such a small budget that they couldn't afford to release it overseas or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I was surprised.
MGM put it on, too.
Yeah. I was surprised it was a Ridley Scott movie. I did not think
Me
that
too.
it was Ridley Scott.
I did not know that until right before we started recording, and I was writing it down. I'm like, Ridley Scott?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And it doesn't even seem like a Ridley Scott movie when you're watching it either. It's like, what the fuck?
But,
all right.
Rotten Tomatoes has this thing at 84%.
Ooh, that's pretty high.
IMDb 7.4 out of 10, and Metacritic at 88%.
Okay.
So it's up there.
Okay.
It's up there. This was nominated for some awards.
Really?
It was nominated for the Oscar for Best Actress for Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon.
Okay.
They ran against each other in that category.
Oh, my God.
Best Director for Ridley Scott, Best Cinematography, and Best Editing. It actually took the win at the Oscars
for Best Editing?
Best Screenplay.
Oh, the screenplay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it won a Golden Globe for the exact same thing for Best Screenplay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Want to get a gander of that screenplay.
Get a gander of that screen. What? JT, what is a Thelma and Louise all about?
Well, we're following two women named Thelma and Louise who seem to be kind of stuck in some dead-end lives, so to say.
Sure.
Where Louise, played by Susan Sarandon, is kind of stuck at a dead-end job as a diner waitress.
Yep.
And Gina Davis, who plays Thelma, is kind of a stay-at-home wife to a real dopey piece of shit.
Yes.
And one day they decide, let's get out. Let's just go out and, I don't know, go fishing.
Right.
just get out of here.
Let's go to the mountains.
Just go travel. And on these travels, they come across some circumstances that could possibly make them fugitives on the run from some certain law officials that lead to a cross-country chase across the wonderful West.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So, everyone is pretty much aware of the ending of this movie, right?
Oh yeah.
It's the most iconic thing of the movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been like satirized in certain ways.
Mm-hmm. That is the only part of this movie I knew anything about.
Yeah, me too.
Was the ending.
Me too.
And that Brad Pitt was in it.
Yeah.
And that was it. Otherwise, I really had no idea how this movie started, where it was going, why it got to that end point.
Yeah.
But everything leading up to there, I thought was a pretty fun ride.
Yeah. No, I was liking it all the way through. They definitely, I think they take some liberties on like male characters in specific, but yeah, no, I liked it for the most part. I don't know, like I feel like tonally there's some things where I was like, what are you trying to say here? But outside of that, I was kind of digging the ride all the way through.
Mm-hmm. I liked that Shooter McGavin
played Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, it was Thelma's like deadbeat husband.
God, I know.
Oh my! I love that actor.
Christopher McDonald kicks ass.
He was the right amount of dick in all the right places.
Yeah.
Like even to the beginning where I can't remember what his name in the movie, but when she yelled back for him in the house right at the beginning, he comes up and he's like, "Don't yell my name. You know it just drives me crazy." And she's like, "Okay."
Like, and like he doesn't come off as like abusive, he just kind of comes off as like a dimwit. Like a dimwit, and like he would like be abusive if he had the balls to be abusive. But he's like not. He's just like, God damn it, Thelma! Just stop doing this.
Yes.
And then she's like, are you gonna be home? I'm gonna be home late. All right? God damn it! Stop asking questions. Like he does everything like butt hitter, where it's like, yeah, fuck that guy. Just go.
Right. Yeah. I also love he's like, well, everyone's not a regional manager of the freaking car lot or whatever.
I thought he was like a carpet salesman or some shit.
Oh, I thought he sold used cars. Who knows? Either way.
I thought it was something involving carpet.
That's even better.
But yeah, he does so much shit in this where he just comes off as such a goof. Like, he's constantly tripping over shit or dropping something, and then every time
in full pizzas.
I want to talk about that later. But yeah, every time he does it, it drives him literally insane.
Yes.
There's even a scene in this where like he's on the phone with Thelma and he goes to check his watch and it causes him to like not even drop the phone but like almost drop it. And he's like, God damn it! Like he's so angry that like things just like even when something just kind of like goes like estranged to him, he's just like, son of a bitch. He's so angry all the time.
Only reason Thelma's even with him because she's just been with him since high school.
Yeah. Like, she's definitely just one of those where she's just kind of become complacent, where she's like, I don't know where I don't know what would happen to me if I wasn't with him. Right. So it's like, all right.
Right. It's it's like a fun story where like it's kind of like the Odd Couple a bit, but they're still like best friends.
Yeah.
Like Thelma and Louise, like one's super tidy and Thelma's a bit of a mess, and but they both love each other and they're best friends forever.
Yeah, they're definitely different, but you don't really know why they are the way they are until you get more into the movie.
Mm-hmm. Like little pieces flesh out each other's lives and stuff like that.
But but like Louise is definitely the person that only lets people in a certain amount, and then Thelma's definitely the one where it's like she needs a man at all times. Like even
that, but like it will just talk to anybody. Maybe she's cooped up so much she just any point she gets, she's just like bah!
Yeah, like she's super trusting, but you definitely like when me and Molly were watching, she was like, oh yeah, she's like that chick where it's like she just needs a man. Like she's always like she's not comfortable unless she knows that she has a man that she can like fall back on. Like even when it's definitely looks like she's accepted the fact that she's not going to go back to her husband, then she's like on the prowl.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think she would be happy with Louise.
Maybe, but like I don't know. It just
even
seems
like even when there's like 30 minutes left of this movie, I don't think she's looking for any of that kind of stuff.
No. I think she definitely gets to where she takes on Louise's mindset more, but like in the middle there, like she's always kind of like, oh, he's cute. Oh, who's that guy? Like,
well, I think it's more or less to get away from Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, but
to get something else out there.
Yeah, but I think what the movie tries to put across is that Thelma is what Louise was before what happened to Louise happened.
Maybe.
So it's like Louise is trying to instill in her, like, well, I mean, what you're doing is not the best thing. And she's like, well, fuck you. I want to do what I want to do. Until they get to a point where she figures out what Louise went through, and she's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. You can see why she's a bit reserved.
Yeah. Even, like, the person that she's with, like, her like, boyfriend or whatever. Like, I like those scenes, too, when, like, they introduce Michael Madsen as their boyfriend.
Yeah.
When, like, he goes and visits them at that hotel, and, like, he kind of, like, throws his big hissy fit, and she's like, all right, I'm just gonna let you play out your tantrum. Like, God damn it, Louise! And he's, like, fucking, like, throwing shit around and shit, and she's just like, if you're gonna be like this, I'm gonna leave. Like, no, don't leave, God. Go sit down. No, I'm gonna stay here. Like, I love Susan Sarandon as Louise in this, because it's like she almost kind of has him trained, where she like kind of knows what he does.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, you're gonna throw a tantrum. I'm just gonna wait it out until you calm down.
Right.
But then like she doesn't like trust him enough to like be open with him. She's just kind of like, I think you're hot, and we're together, and like maybe I do have feelings for you, but I'm not going to allow myself to explore them, because the last time I was vulnerable around somebody, some shit happened to me.
Right. Yeah. I got vibes of my aunt from Louise.
Yeah?
A little bit. Can you see it?
I can see it.
My Aunt Sue.
Yeah. Every time I hear your aunt's name, I always think of Russell.
Total inside joke. But yes.
Yeah. Well, me and Troy both worked at a grocery store in a small town, and there was a guy called Russell that would always buy soda for the bar right next door. And every time his Aunt Sue like waited on him at the grocery store, he'd be like, thank you, Sue.
Oh my God. Every day come with a big like 6-pack of the 24-ounce Mountain Dews and razors.
Yeah.
Like every day. Just like, all right, see you, Russell. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
We'll be out of there. Anyway, that's a Russell story.
R.I.P. Russell. Man, he's been like dead for like a long time, like 5 or 6 years now.
Jeez, Russell in peace.
Russell in peace, man.
Anyway, Thelma and Louise. I was actually surprised. No, I guess I wouldn't be so surprised, but I was pleased that this movie started out the way it did, and I immediately like fell into it. I'm like, I really like these two together.
Oh yeah.
They have like, I thought, really great chemistry. In fact, like, I don't think there's any part in this that there is a weak character moment from anyone.
Really?
I think I liked I think the weakest character in this, only due to Gina Davis, because sometimes I think her acting falls a little flat. Okay. And I don't believe her.
Yeah.
But I think that's like the weakest point.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not too like taken back by her acting. Like, I think she's just kind of like,
there's like a few times where like she was like crying, and I'm like, I don't believe you. Like that you're crying or sad.
Yeah. Or
something like that. But like, I thought Susan Sarandon was like always on top of her shit.
Oh yeah.
Really good. But like the charm of Gina Davis like overtook any shortcomings that I had anyway.
Yeah.
Because I think she's like really charming in this, and a total smoke show.
Oh yeah.
She is so attractive in this
Susan
movie.
Sarandon is like the definition of a hot older chick.
Sure.
Like, there's a reason why she was in the fucking, that, like, Lonely Island song where, like, they were talking about Mother Lover, where it's like, oh, yeah, I could totally be, like, if I was, like, friends with, like, Susan Sarandon's son, I would be like, I want to fuck your mom.
Take that, Billy Sarandon, or whatever your name is.
Billy Sarandon? But no, yeah, like, yeah, it's just, they seem like a genuine, like, female friendship kind of couple where, like, they bring out the worst in each other and they bring out the best of each other all at the same time.
Right.
Where it's like, there's sometimes where it's like, yeah, they're good for each other. And then Thelma will go and, like, rob a fucking convenience store because of something that happened to Louise, where I'm like, maybe they're not the best for each other.
I think at the point where they're on the run, they're just doing whatever it takes to, like, get by.
Yeah.
So, like, being what's best for one another is, like, hard to argue, because it's like, yeah, it's probably not the best thing to do, but, like, they're desperate.
Yeah. No, I think definitely, like, kind of the theme of this whole movie is, like, because I think there's a sense in this movie where I feel like a lot of, like, the men in this movie are incompetent, but I think it's done in a way where it shows that they're surrounded by a bunch of men that feel like they know what's best for them, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happier doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you're over here being like, even, like, I like Harvey Keitel's character in this, where he's, like, kind of like the policeman that's always trying to convince them to come back, where it's like, look, I believe you that this was self-defense, just come back here, we'll work this all out. And then they just keep going further and further down this rabbit hole where he's like, look, you're making me run out of options, I'm trying to help you, but you're doing more and more shit where I don't even know what, like, if you come back now, you'll be fine. I'm on your side, I will make sure you're fine. And they're like, no. What the fuck am I supposed to do? But I think he's, like, a cool character because it's like he's trying to help them with all the best intentions, but he's still operating on the idea that he thinks he knows what they, like, what's best for them. Mm-hmm. But he still doesn't. Mm-hmm. Where I think that's, like, kind of the ongoing trend where you go from, like, the worst of the worst, where, like, the guy that's trying to rape Thelma, where it's like, oh, she wants this, up to, like, the guy that has the best intentions, where he's like, I don't want them to be arrested, but I want them to reintegrate back into, like, their lives that they had before. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, no one besides Thelma and Louise know what they want out of their lives.
Yeah. And I don't even think they know until, like, it's too late.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was saying, like, I love where this started because I loved seeing their, like, back and forth, and they're just planning on, like, getting away for the weekend.
Yeah.
And, like, that's it. Blow off some steam.
Yeah.
That was, like, the main point of it. So they end up just stopping at this bar, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, come on, just lay your hair down. Let's dance. Let's friggin' just tie a one on. Get back out on the road.
Yeah.
But, like, that ends up going awry when Thelma gets a little too friendly with one of the patrons there.
Yeah.
And, like, ends up going outside to get some air, and he follows her out there and tries to rape her on a car.
Yeah.
Which at this point I'm like, this got heavy very quickly.
Yeah. Like, it's pretty lighthearted up to this point.
Yeah.
And the guy is just like, you want this, and just fucking
hits her?
Yeah, hits her.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And it's fairly graphic. You don't see anything.
Yeah. But, like, you can see him, like, slowly, like, trying to pull down her panties and shit, where you're like, oh god, it's getting there.
Yeah. And then Louise comes to her rescue, just pointing that 38 special up into his jaw.
That's the thing that kind of threw me off, where it was like, Thelma seems kind of skittish about a bunch of things, and then they just throw in this scene where she's like, so I brought this gun, and then, like, even, like, Louise is like, why?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I just brought it.
For plot.
Yeah, pretty much. She's like, I just brought it, you know. I don't even want to touch it, but I brought it with me. Or I'm like, okay.
It would make more sense for Louise to own the gun.
Yeah, but I feel like they kind of wanted to do, like, a thing where it's like they can tie themselves together, where it's like Louise kills the rapist with Thelma's gun.
Yeah.
where it's like now they're both fucked.
Yeah, I get how all that goes together, but like that would be like the one thing where it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. But
like I feel like they tried to explain it where like when they're getting ready to leave, Thelma's raising all these questions and then trying to introduce a bunch of these things where like Louise is like, just fucking calm down, Thelma. This is going to be a pain if we bring this with us, or if we bring this, to the point where like Thelma's like, well, if you're not going to let me take these things, then I'll at least bring the gun so we have some sort of protection. Like she's like, I think she like wanted to bring like a
lantern.
Yeah, she wanted to bring a lantern. She wanted to bring a bunch of things. She's like, well, you don't know who's out there.
Right. And well, that lantern never comes back into play.
Yeah.
It's a total red herring.
Yeah. But I think, like, yeah, like that whole, like, first scene, like, she just brings up, like, a bunch of things where it's like, let's just bring this just in case. And she's like, no, because it's just going to clutter up, like, the little space we have left in this car. So she's like, well, if you won't let me bring a lantern to, like, look for intruders, I'll bring a gun and just fire it randomly, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I feel like they tried to explain it, but it was like, it was a little kind of a shady way of like trying to introduce a gun.
Yeah. I don't know. It happens kind of just like as a throw off thing, and you kind of forget about it until you're like going back and trying to like explain it like on a podcast. I mean, it's like, why did they bring a gun?
Yeah. And they like still address it where they're just like, why'd she bring, like, even like when the cops come into her house and search it, where it's like, why'd she take the gun with her?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, they brought the gun.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, the Thelma gets rescued by Louise there. And then Louise and Thelma are leaving, and then the guy like cocks off to her.
Yeah.
And like
I think he calls her the C word or something too.
Yeah. And so like she just has enough of it and shoots him. Like, but at that point, like, it feels justified because he just tried to rape this chick, and then is talking shit to him after when they're trying to get out of there. But they're
walking away, like, she didn't have to do it. Like, you find out probably why she did it, near the end. But yeah, they're walking away. They're about to take off, and then the guy just like yells like something where she's just like, you know what, fuck this, and just kills him.
Right.
Where it's like, you didn't have to go that far.
Well,
I mean, yeah, she was getting raped, but it was like, you guys were on your way out. You prevented it. And then, like, he just said something where it just set her off and she killed him. Like, you find out why she did, but it's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah. I guess I didn't necessarily feel like it was such a huge leap at the given point in time, and then going back and like thinking like, oh well, she's got all this baggage leading in her life, kind of like leading up to like this moment.
Yeah,
it's like I could see that being a thing.
Like, you definitely get to feel like Louise has gone through some shit. Like, even when they talk about like she's like completely avoiding going through Texas, even though like it'll like cut their trip in half.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, why don't we just go through Texas? We'll be in Mexico like tomorrow.
Right.
It's like, we're not going through Texas. It's like,
Jesus.
Okay, well then fuck. This is going to be a long fucking trip.
But then, because they've shot a man, now they're on the run because they realize right after they did, it's like, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. I immediately regret this decision.
Yeah. And like, even like Thelma keeps bringing up, like, if we just go to the cops and tell them what happened, like, they'll probably let us go. And she's like, no, it won't happen, blah blah blah.
Right.
So I don't know, like, yeah, they have like small things throughout where like you can kind of piece together what might have happened to her.
Right. But they end up going on the run in Louise's Thunderbird convertible.
It's a badass fucking car.
It is a pretty sweet car. And I want to say there's a few shots in this where they film them driving in the countryside, and it's, I think, shot very well.
Yeah, this makes like the Southwest look fucking badass.
Yeah, and I just in general, I think this had really great looking shots and cinematography.
Yeah.
And like, I usually don't notice that kind of stuff, but there were like a few sweeping shots. There's one that I can just kind of remember where it's like they're on the road, and it's like a kind of a 3/4 profile of both the women, And then they kind of pull ahead in the car, and the camera swoops down just to catch, like, the Thunderbird logo on the back of the convertible before it speeds off all in one shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was a really cool shot.
There is some pretty sweet camera work in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was digging it.
And I'm just like, for a road movie, like, this is a lot of good-looking shots. But then you're like, it's like, oh, yeah, Ridley Scott directed this. He probably has a few decent people on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, cut out the scene where the aliens come out at one point.
Yeah, right. One thing I wanted to bring up before I forget, like, the band singer at this bar that they were in, where they got accosted in the parking lot, has a pretty rad ponytail, and I'm pretty sure it has a scrunchie in it. I was like, I can't let that slide. I gotta point that out.
Oh, yeah. The line dancing in this is phenomenal.
Yes. Also, they got their drinks very quickly in that bar.
Yeah, that place was packed.
Yeah, it's like, they ordered like a shot of wild turkey and a beer chaser.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, and what can I have for you? And then that drink was already coming from Thelma as in. I'm like,
shit.
What bar is this ever happened in?
That place is packed. And she's getting her drink now?
Right away.
There's probably like 30 or 40 people waiting for their drink.
I don't think so.
These two are in a hurry. We better get them their beer and shot now.
Now, granted, when this murder happened, like, it spurred off like their whole fugitive run. But like, like I said, I had no idea what went on in this movie. I had no idea, like, rape was a part of this movie.
Yeah.
Murder. Yeah. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? I never expected to get this heavy, I guess.
I kind of thought like the whole thing was them being like robbers or bank robbers or something.
I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Which kind of happens, like,
but they only do it like once.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even like go on like a crime spree. It's just like they do like a few things here and there that makes them wanted. Yeah. That's about it. They do like just enough so that they're both fugitives.
That's right, yeah.
Because like even like Thelma could probably get away scot-free if she would have just like ditched Louise outright, but it was like, well, no, I'll help you, and then she robs a convenience store for her to get money.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading some of my notes. So anyway, while they're on the road, speaking of getting the money or whatever, Louise has the idea, well, I'm just gonna go to Mexico. I'm gonna hide out there. My life is over. I'm gonna withdraw all my savings and cash, go to Mexico. I'll start over down there. So she withdraws all of her money from savings. I just spaced on his name. Michael Madsen. Thank you. To withdraw all of her money and Wells Fargo it to her in this hotel at Oklahoma City. So she goes up there to collect her check. And not only is the check not there, but Michael Madsen is there himself.
Yeah, he takes it, brings it to her personally.
That's right.
And then that's where they have the whole scene where he's like, God damn it!
Chucking vases across
Louise!
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll just let you play it out, whatever.
Nonchalantly proposes to her.
Yeah. I know, I love that where he's like, well, you wanna?
But at this same time, they've also picked up Brad Pitt, that they've already run into like twice in this movie by now. And Gina Davis is kind of getting a bit lonely because Louise is off with Michael Madsen just throwing shit in their bedroom.
Yeah.
And then so she invites Brad Pitt in for a bit of a romp.
Yeah. Which Thelma's so goddamn naive.
Yes.
In this whole movie. Like it like drove me insane where I'm like, the dude tells you that he robs people.
Yes.
And then she was like, he's taking a shower right now. I'm like, alone? In your room? With our money?
Well,
yeah, but I mean, he likes me. Like, no. Baby girl, no.
Like, call her naive. For whatever reason, I didn't see it coming either. And when they said it, I'm just like, oh shit, he is going to steal the money. Fuck! They get there. He's definitely gone with their life savings that they pulled out of there.
Yeah.
So now they're on the run. No money whatsoever.
Yeah.
They're hosed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the only way they know Well, no, because they don't really know what they're going to do at all until Gina Davis is like, listen, I got an idea. Get your ass in the car. We're getting out of here. They go park at a market or whatever, a convenience store.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll just be right back.
Yeah.
Goes in, does the exact line that Brad Pitt said, this is how I rob a bank.
Yeah.
And he does it in the convenience store.
Exact same shit.
And I love it. It's like the most cordial way to rob anything. And I'm like, that is so sweet.
I know. That's the thing I like the most about these two is that, like, anytime in the movie where one of them is down, the other one picks the other one up, pretty much.
Yes.
Like, it's mostly, like, Thelma being, like, depressed, like, she doesn't know what to do with her life, and then Louise picks her up, and then when they get to the point where Brad Pitt steals all their money, and then Louise is down, Thelma's like, well, don't worry, I'll fix this, and then that's when she goes and steals the shit.
Yep.
Where it's like, they look out for each other, and that's what I like the most about their relationship, where, it's like, neither of them let the other one get so down that they don't feel like there's another option.
Yes. So, at this point, the cops are also onto their game.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of pieced together, they're over at Shooter McGavin's house, like, trying to get information out of him. They're like, listen, we've tapped her phone. If she calls, just be nice to her.
Oh, I love that.
Because women love that shit.
Women love it when you're nice to them. And then she calls and he's like, hi. And she hangs up.
That was amazing. I loved that.
It's like, I know that's kind of like the whole thing of it where it's like men feel like they know what women want. And then it's just like, well, like, yeah, we know what we want, but we're not stupid. Like, we know when you're like trying to get something out of us.
Right.
And I love that shit so much. And then, like, I think, like, Louise calls and, like...
Yeah, calls right back.
Yeah, and then he, like, picks up and he's like, hey, Louise, can you put Thelma on? He's like, put the fucking cop on.
The cops?
What?
There's no cops here.
Just do it.
And Harvey Keitel's like, give me the phone.
Just give me the fucking phone. Like all the men in this just seem like so like kind of incompetent, but I feel like it has a purpose where they're just like they're showing that these men feel like they have complete control of the situation. They just need to appease to these women's wants and needs, and then we'll just get them to come back to us.
Right.
But then it's like, oh, fuck, we don't know what we're doing.
Right. I also like near the end of that whole kind of scene too is that like they pan back to Thelma and Shooter's house.
Yeah.
I wish I knew his name, but I don't.
Yeah.
And like all the cops are in there just watching TV.
Yeah, I love that scene when they're
funny as shit.
There's like some scene where they're like watching some like old romantic film,
right?
And then like fucking Shooter McGavin tries to turn to the game, and they all just turn back and look at him, and he turns it back and just like rolls like, what the fuck, man? I don't even have my own house to myself,
right? Oh man,
like there's like the last time you see him, he's like in the house, and it's like super dark, and he looks like a madman. Yeah. Like this whole scenario has just driven him insane.
Driven him crazy.
Like he's like staring like straight ahead, like, like what has happened to you?
Yeah, he's falling apart.
But oh my god, I love it. Like that, especially that scene when like Harvey Keitel first shows up, and he's like, "You're stepping in pizza," and he's like, "Ah, god damn it!"
Then I also like how back on the Thelma and Louise side, during their whole trip to get down to Mexico and all their other exploits, they continue to bump in to this trucker.
Oh,
the horny trucker guy.
The horny trucker.
He is amazing in this. Like, he is amazing on how gross and stupid he is.
Yeah.
But every time, because I like how it's set up like, oh, we should just, like, follow this trucker because they're great on the roads. They're great drivers.
Yeah.
Like, they pull alongside him and they, like, go to wave, and he's just, like, doing the V around his mouth. And they're, like, jerking his truck off.
Yeah, he, like, puts his hand out and starts jerking off the fucking the door of his truck.
And then they're like, oh, God. And they run into him, like, 3 other times in this movie.
Yeah, and then the last time they do is like, they just like get him to like pull over, so they're like, hey, so what do you want from us? And it's like, they like kind of like appease him where it's like, oh, do you want to fuck us or whatever? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, that's what you want? And then like they're like so forthright with it where he's just kind of weirded out where he's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Would you do that to your daughter or your wife or your mother? And he's like, what?
This is weird.
You guys.
It's like, I want to like just picture him just doing that to any woman he sees on the road.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you want to fuck? Look at my tongue. And he's like an old fucking dude too, where it's like, did that ever work?
It takes off a wedding ring once, so it has to work at least once, right?
At least once. That's how he met his wife.
Yeah, he just hung his head out the window.
Oh, look at that charming man's tongue. I want to get to know him.
It looks like he may be proficient in cunnilingus. I should marry that man.
We have so much in common.
But, yeah, they end up getting the best of him, don't they, JT?
They blow the fuck out of his truck.
Yeah.
Well, blow it up. They don't blow his truck.
Right. As much as he was jerking in that truck off, it does not have a penis to blow.
Yeah. It only blew his load when they shot the tanker in the back.
It exploded. I also did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, it blew up like a fucking A-bomb. That thing went up.
It went up. Only to attract the attention of more police.
Yeah.
In a helicopter, mind you.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't bring up the time when they got pulled over.
Oh, yeah. That happened like right before this.
Yeah, the time they got pulled over and they put the trooper that pulled him over in his trunk when they pulled a gun on him. And then the weird scene out of nowhere where the black bicyclist is going down the road and hears him bang on his trunk. So he goes over to the bullet hole in the trunk that they shot in it for air holes and just blows weed smoke in it. End of scene.
That's it.
That's it. That's all. No context to anything else in the story. You're just watching a black dude smoking weed on his bike.
Right.
Pulls over just to blow some weed smoke in the air hole.
Right. Never followed up on.
Nope.
That's the end of that.
That's the only time you ever see both the bicyclist and the finger of the trooper.
Right. So then it's pretty much approaching the end of this movie by now. The cops pretty much have a caravan of policemen waiting for them. Harvey Keitel is in the helicopter, as well as the other actor. I've seen a ton of stuff, but I can't remember.
He's been in a bunch of shit, but I can't remember him. Yeah.
And they've got like 40 cops all pointing automatic weapons at these two women in a convertible.
I know. That's all overkill for two women.
Right. At the most, that have a 38 special.
Yeah.
That's it. And so they got them dead to rights. And this is where the iconic scene comes in. It's like, well, should we keep driving?
Yeah.
And then they hold each other's hands.
And Thelma's like, why don't we just keep going?
Yep.
And they're like, yep, they hold hands and then they drive into the Grand Canyon.
Right. All in all, I thoroughly enjoyed this watch.
Yeah.
I had no expectations whatsoever, and I think that it set them pretty high. After I watched it, I was like, okay, I really like that. I could see why this is like a very classic piece of cinema at this point. I had very little flaws with this movie.
Okay.
I would recommend it to pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's more adult than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I knew going in it was rated R.
There's a pretty sexy ass scene with Brad Pitt and Gina Davis.
Yes.
Where I was like, I'm getting a little turned on. Like when he's like hovering around her panty line, where I'm like,
oh my god,
this is pretty fucking hot.
Is it getting hot in here?
I was digging it.
Am I beaten up?
Yeah.
Somebody give me a towel.
Yeah. I almost took Molly Pop in the back room, not gonna lie.
Can you be Gina Davis for a minute?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie on this watch.
It's a fun watch. The only complaint I really have is I feel like, in terms of tone, I feel like I wish it would have picked a lane a little more. But outside of that,
how so?
Like I feel like it tries to be comedic, but it never goes completely comedic, and then it tries to be dramatic, but never goes completely dramatic.
I think I don't know. I thought I rode that line fairly well. There's only a few points though where like big things do happen in their lives, and like the next scene they seem to have just brushed it off.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm kind of about. Where it's like I feel like they would have wished they would have gone full into, like, if they're in terms of like a scene, like they go full comedy or they go full dramatic. Like I don't mind if they do that shit, but like I feel like they were like, we'll ease into it and then we'll go into something else.
Right. Oh, I don't think we even said that Louise was raped in Texas.
The reason why they don't want to go to Texas is because she was raped in Texas, and that's why she's like all about like, no, we're not gonna go to the cops because they'll never believe you. Where you definitely get the feeling that like she was raped, she went to the cops and they were like, nah,
you have no proof,
and then that's why she always keeps people at a certain distance,
right? And really got on that guy who attempted to rape Thelma.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of when it all ends, like you definitely get the feeling that Thelma kind of sees Louise's point of view more. But I feel like they never get to where Louise sees Thelma's point of view more. Well, I feel like I wish they would have gotten to more of like a medium, met in the middle more, where like Louise does see that there is good in people in a certain way.
Yeah.
But I feel like they both go to Louise's side where it's like, yeah, fuck dudes, we got each other.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it. Like I think it's a cool arc for Thelma where she's so boy crazy, and then when she gets to like, yeah, it is pretty hard to trust someone that you've just met.
Right. And I also I like near the end where Thelma is really coming into her own person.
Yeah.
And she's like, she even like notices herself. She's like, have you ever felt like awake? Because this is the most awake I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah, there's another cool line in there too where I think Louise is like, I never knew how crazy you were, and she was like, well, I've always been this crazy, I've just never been able to be myself. Where it's like, yeah, that's cool. Where it's like she's getting to this point now where she feels more like herself than she ever has, especially like knowing that she's been with Shooter McGavin her whole life, like feeling like she has to like live like this housewife kind of thing.
Right.
Like I also kind of like how they look in the beginning as opposed to how they look at the end, where like you see that Polaroid they take with each other, where they look like Stepford wives pretty much.
Yeah.
Like Louise has like that fucking like shawl like tied around her head with the sunglasses, and Thelma has like the lipstick with like the perfectly permed hair and the fucking like V to like show like her cleavage, and then at the end they're pretty much wearing clothes they've stolen from guys throughout the whole movie. Thelma's wearing the fucking trucker's hat, and Louise is wearing Brad Pitt's hat that they stole from him. Like they've legit turned into what the trip has turned them into, because they're wearing clothes they've stolen throughout the whole movie, where like they've definitely come into their own based solely on this trip.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool ending for that.
Yeah. And then knowing there too, like when they're pretty much like are dead to rights under that firing range that they have going on.
Yeah.
They're like, we can either turn back now and end up in jail, or probably even worse, end up back in the positions we were before we left.
Yeah.
So like, why would we want to do that now that we've lived so hard?
Yeah.
And go back to that?
Yeah, like you said, even if they didn't go to prison, they did find a way out to where they could go back to the lives they had. They would just be looking back on, but remember when we were actually like living?
Yes.
Like why would we want to subject ourselves to what made us like depressed or before this.
Right. So yeah, I think it's a fitting ending for what the movie is.
Yeah.
I'm glad they stopped it while they were in midair and didn't follow the crash all the way down. Because that would have been like, oh no.
Yeah. You could just make believe that the car grew wings and they flew away.
Yeah, like what we said, it just has the same ending as Grease at the end. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. If I were to grade it, I'd give it like I think a solid A.
Really?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I think discussing it, I think you turned me around a little bit more. Like I don't know, I think I was expecting them to go more one way or another, and they just kind of stayed more in the middle. And I don't know what I was expecting beyond that, but yeah, I'll give it like a solid A-. I really dug it, and yeah, I like what they did with it in terms of like their friendship and like them driving each other to go in these certain routes to where they finally realize where it's like, I'd rather be dead than go back to this poor shit life.
Yeah. So there you go, Thelma and Louise.
Yeah,
great entry.
Check it out, and it's for free on Amazon Prime and Hulu.
Yes, I happen to watch it on Hulu.
Yeah, so. Do yourself a favor and check it out.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you want to join us on social media, do so at Review Pod on Twitter. If you happen to be a Facebooker, do that Review Pod on Facebook. You can find us at our host site at reviewpod.podbean.com, but you don't have to listen to just there. We are also on a multitude of platforms such as Google Podcasts, Alexa devices, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. If you happen to be an Apple user, rate and review us there, because if you like the show, that helps other people find the show as well. If you want to write in, do so at reviewreviewpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening again. We'll see you next time.
And we're off.